Hello young astronomers, myself Ranjit Kumar. I am an astronomer and an astronomy educator with Space India. So in this video we are going to understand how to unbox the 50mm MEADE refractor telescope and how to assemble it. So let's unbox the 50mm refractor telescope. So I'm going to open the box. So we have a manual here which tells about the parts and how to assemble the telescope. We have this manual. So we have these three boxes. So let's open first the bigger box. So in this box we have the tripod. I'm going to make the tripod out from the cover. So I remove the cover. I'm going to keep the tripod here. I'm going to put the cover in the box and keep the box aside. And similarly I'm going to unbox this. So when I unbox, now I can see an optical tube. So I'm going to take the optical tube out from the cover. So we have the last box, the smaller box. So in the smaller box, we have one star diagonal. We have the auxiliary tray and the finder scope. We have Barlow and we have three eyepieces. I'm going to keep this box aside as well. Before keeping this box aside, I'm going to remove the cover. So these are the different parts we have from the telescope. We have three different kinds of eyepieces here. So one 20mm eyepiece, one 12mm eyepiece and another one 4mm eyepiece. So the basic difference between these three eyepieces, we can magnify more using these three eyepieces. So in the telescope box itself it is mentioned. So here it is mentioned as if we use 20mm eyepiece, we can magnify up to 30 times. Means we can see the objects 30 times closer. If we use the 12mm eyepiece, then we can magnify up to 50 times. Similarly, if you use 4mm eyepiece, then we can magnify up to 150 times. So these are the use of different kind of eyepieces. Now we unbox a 50mm infinity refractor telescope. So let's assemble it. So now we are ready for assembling a telescope. So first step what we have to do, we have to take the tripod and you can see there is a rubber band over here. So we have to remove the rubber band like this and then take out the rubber band. So we have this rubber band, take out the rubber band. So if we take out the rubber band, now we can extend our tripod. But still it is very small. This tripod looks very small. To extend our tripod, what we are going to do, here you can see there is one switch kind of structure. So what we have to do, we have to open this. Now our tripod can be extended. So once it is open, close it and again do the same for all other two sides. So when we extend our tripod, make sure the tripod legs, all the three tripod legs are in same height. You can see there is a screw kind of thing here. So we have to remove this. So take this out. So you can see there are three supports. So what we have to do, we have to take the support bracket and in that support bracket you can see some bracket like this. So what we have to do, we have to make sure this bracket falls on the support. So once this is done, the next step we have to keep the screw and we have to tighten this. Why we are using this support tray? This support tray makes our tripod legs stable. Now our tripod is ready. Next step what we are going to do, we are going to attach our optical tube with the tripod. So how to attach? To attach this, here you can see there is a screw in the optical tube. So remove the screw. Then keep your tripod. See, in our optical tube we have two holes. We have two holes. So in the tripod also we can see we have two holes. So we have to make sure these two holes coincide. Then we have to insert the screw and always insert the screw the opposite side to the golden plating. In this side you can see that there are some golden plating. So always we have to insert the screw opposite side to the golden plating. So I'm keeping like this. Why we have to insert the screw from the opposite side of the golden plating? Because if you insert that on that side, we cannot make a telescope to move maximum height. Now our optical tube is attached with a tripod. Next step, what we are going to do, we have to take the star diagonal. So here we have the star diagonal. Just to remove the cap from the star diagonal, see, just to loosen the screw and remove this cap and take out the cap from the silver coating also. So now I have taken the star diagonal. So what we have to do, we have to insert the star diagonal in this place. So you can see there is a cap over here also. So just to loosen these two screws and then take out the cap. I am going to keep this cap this side as well. Next step, what we have to do, we have to insert the silver color side inside the optical tube. So insert like this and then tighten the screw. Make sure the star diagonal is not coming out from the optical tube. Next step, what we have to do, we have to insert the eyepiece. To insert the eyepiece, we have 3 eyepieces. So always begin with 20 mm eyepiece as it is best for the beginners. So the eyepiece mm are mentioned in front of the eyepiece. So I have taken the 20 mm eyepiece. To insert, what we have to do, you can see there is a screw over here. So just to loosen the screw so that we can insert our eyepiece. So insert our eyepiece, then tighten the screw. So if I tighten it, make sure again this eyepiece is not coming out from the star diagonal. So now our eyepiece is also attached. Next step, what we have to do, we have to attach the finder scope. So here I have taken the finder scope. So you can see there are some places for the finder scope to attach. So what we have to do, we have to loosen these 2 knobs. Now I have taken out the screws. Next step, what we have to do, we have to place our finder scope on the optical tube. We have to place in such a way that the bigger diameter side has to point the front side like this. Once it is done, insert the screw. Now our telescope assembling part is done. We have one more thing in our telescope box, that is Barlow. So this Barlow, we use Barlow to increase the magnification. As I said in the beginning, different eyepieces have different magnification. If we use this Barlow, it will double the magnification of the eyepiece. How to fix the Barlow with the optical tube? So you can see there are 2 knobs. Just to loosen the knob and remove the star diagonal and then insert the silver part from the Barlow inside the optical tube like this. So once it is done, loosen the screw in the Barlow and then insert this silver color part here and then tighten it. So this is how we will fix the Barlow with our optical tube. So once this is done, our telescope is completely ready. This is all about from the assembling part of a telescope. Now let's understand how to point this telescope towards any particular object. To point any object from this particular telescope, I have taken out the Barlow from the telescope to make it easier. I am going to keep the Barlow aside. So now this telescope is attached with a 20 mm eyepiece. As I told, 20 mm eyepiece are best for the beginners. So I am begin with the 20 mm eyepiece. So first step, we have to remove the cap which is in front of the telescope. So I am going to remove this cap. So now our telescope is ready to point any object. First begin with terrestrial objects like trees, buildings or towers. As they are stable, we can point easily. So first point any nearest terrestrial object. Let's say we have pointed the telescope towards tree and keep your eye in this and then make sure whatever the object you point, whatever the terrestrial object you point comes in the center of this eyepiece. So once we did this, next step we have to align our finder scope. Aligning finder scope is important because to point any night sky objects, to point any celestial objects, what we have to do, first we will get the object in the finder scope, then we can easily find from the eyepiece. To make that easier, we have to align our finder scope with the eyepiece. So to align, what to do, you can see there are 3 knobs, there are 3 screws. So we can loosen and tighten these 3 screws. So we have to keep our eyes this side and then we have to observe the same object comes in the center of this finder scope also. So once you feel that okay, it is center in both the eyepiece and the finder scope, now your finder scope is aligned with the eyepiece. So once terrestrial objects is done, we can go for celestial objects, that is night sky objects. So to find any night sky object, what we have to do? We have to get that object first in the finder scope. As the finder scope covers more area, it will be easy for us to first get the object in the finder scope. If that object comes in the center of the finder scope, then it will be in the center of the eyepiece also, because we have aligned our finder scope with the eyepiece. So this is how we point any object from this 50 mm refractor telescope. So after pointing the object, sometimes the image may be blurred. So how to get a proper and sharp image? So for that, here you can see two knobs. So you can adjust these two knobs for clear image, for focusing. Depending upon your eyesight, depending upon your eye, you can adjust this and you can get your focus by keeping your eyes like this. So once the focusing is done, you can enjoy the beauty of celestial objects. So that is it from my side in this telescope video. I hope you learned how to unbox the 50 mm refractor telescope and how to align it, how to point this telescope towards any particular object. So wish you all clear skies, happy hunting, bye bye everyone.